In the spring of 2019, Sterling Playmakers asked audiences to join us in Chinkapin, Louisiana for Steel Magnolias, the beloved dramedy by Robert Harling. Join us for a reunion with our cast and crew and hear stories about the production for a behind-the-scenes look at community theater.
Well, I mean, so there's a few different parts to it, right? There's the 80s, there's also the characters, there's also the fact that this is set in the Deep South, which is also where I'm from, so I think you kind of take all of that into account. And then there's also verbal cues in the script that you want to look at, you know, like about how Malin's hair looks like a brown football helmet, and you know, Jordan's whole transformation throughout the show. I know we all sat down and talked about that, Shanna and Jimmy and I too. And then also the input from the actors themselves, especially with like the wigs. We looked through the magazines together and worked together to kind of create that character, because I think at the end of the day, the actors know their interpretation of those characters better than anyone else. So if the hair doesn't feel or look right to them, then it's not what the character would do. So I think that's kind of all the different things that came together in my mind when putting it together. And of course, you know, fun Googling of 1980s hairstyles and makeup and what the actors already have for those who weren't being wigged, what their hair texture and length and color already is. Yeah, Jordan's, we didn't have to do too much curling for Jordan.
But I learned that there is a beauty after the curl fluff, and that was probably one of my favorite moments about learning about my own hair, was the fact that we went from this frizz and then she kept brushing, and I was so confused. I was like, why are we still brushing? This is as big as it gets. Like, we're not getting any bigger here. And then somehow it got beautiful, and I swear I almost cried the first night that it happened. I was like, oh my gosh, my hair, it doesn't look like a mess. Like, what is this?
Theater magic.
I can't tell you how that happens. I don't know the science behind it. I have no idea. I just know that if you keep brushing against your hand, especially if you've got a little pomade on there, just the curls start to come together and form one bigger curl.
It's magic.
It's a gift.
And did you have any one particular hair or makeup look that was either the most fun to create or was a favorite?
Most frustrating?
No, I mean, none of it was really frustrating. I think that Jordan's hair had the most transition, and it was the most playful. And I really liked Shelby's short haircut wig.
Very different.
It made you look so different. Oh my gosh.
But I think my favorite part was just the time backstage, you know, working on everyone's hair, curling and brushing and pinning and
I remember we all when Emily had to get her hair all pinned down to get under the wig really fast, and we all would come over, here, grab some pins.
Do a curl, do one.
We were all standing around her head, pinning her hair to get it all flat in time.
Yeah, because especially with a wig that's that straight and that close to the head, you don't want to end up looking like you've got a lumpy, weird scalp. Really easy for those to not look good.
The PR, I had a lot of fun with it. You know, Shanna, I remember talking to you. You and I had that kind of initial meeting, and you already had so many ideas of what you wanted to do, that it made it really easy for me. And I think also just this show is so iconic in so many ways. It has so much personality. It's got so many different elements and so many great one-liners and things like that we had so much fun figuring out what we wanted to do. I loved the photo shoot day in the salon.
Yeah, that was fun.
So much fun there. And, you know, I remember doing the kind of behind the scenes videos, which popped up on my Facebook newsfeed recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, look at that. But I think that, you know, we got to have a lot of fun doing all the different like little iconic quotes and everything. Sorry, hang on. She's fine. Yeah, and I, you know, I'm trying to remember like one thing in particular that stood out. I don't think there's any one thing in particular for me. I think I just had so much fun with all of it. And I had seen the movie, but hadn't read the play until I started doing the PR for it. And I just loved it so much. I mean, I remember talking to that, the woman who wrote that article on the show, and just explaining to her how it's like all about the strength of women and the strength of women together and the strength of women as individuals, all in like different ways that, you know, you don't necessarily see. But just how women are like really powerful in their everyday lives and through their families and through their friendships and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know if there's any one thing in particular. I had so much fun doing all of it. Plus everything was pink. It was great. I love pink.
Yeah, I still love to use the fonts that we used for the show. I use them all the time. You mentioned that the videos came across your news feed. The red velvet cake.
Oh,
I got back to that one.
Mm-hmm.
The armadillo.
Never knew how challenging it was to do those like cooking and baking videos until I made my own.
Yeah, they're so difficult, right? We do them at my job for one of my clients, and it's like a full day production for like a 2 or 3 minute video. It's insane. But yeah, and the video interviews, that was a lot of fun. Getting you girls together and just like letting you talk. I still have all that raw footage on Google Drive of the unedited videos of you guys just like chatting together in your little pairs. It was so much fun.
I don't know if you barely got like 2 words in when Liz and I were there. I seem to so
that
was definitely the longest raw video footage that I have.
I'm often very quiet. But
well, I wouldn't say I did a lot of sound designing because it was 4 mics and Jimmy provided most of the information I needed. But this was my first Playmaker show.
Was it really?
Yes, and I remember when I went to Joe and Shanna's house for the read, and I was terrified going in because I didn't know these people. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but it was not a big deal, and I just remember being welcomed like I was part of the group all along, and it was awesome.
You know, we're never letting you leave now.
Yeah, you're a part of us forever.
Well,
that's crazy that was his first show and it was my last.
I know.
We forgot just for a minute. Stop.
I know, but I so love that I got to do that part with you, sweetheart.
We don't need to cry about it
Forever.
This is Jay's turn. This is not.
Plus,
okay.
I looking back on it now, I remember I've been told this story before, but people thought I was a little kid coming in.
I did. I honestly thought he was 12 years old. And I was like, oh, look at this little boy that Joe recruited for sound. And then, of course, he's not 12 years old. He turned out to be one of our very close friends.
I had a decent 12-year-old run tech before at the middle school, so just saying.
And my first time meeting Eric Fisher was interesting, to say the least.
Oh, the interview process.
I want to hear this.
No, that was
yeah.
that was the time that Bill tried to kill him with the lights.
Yeah.
So my
Let's go back here a minute.
so my husband is also like does like a lot of theater with us and like TD and Eric had stopped by and he was helping Bill with the lights. They were reworking. He was reworking some lights and Bill turned the lights on while he was up there. So there was a really bright light right in his face and he started to scream like, "Turn off the lights! Turn off the lights!" Everyone in the auditorium froze because my husband is up on this huge like 8-foot ladder and he's screaming at the top of his lungs and we're all like
and Bill is just like calmly just tapping on the keys.
Hold on. One more
Hold on.
And then next thing you know, we hear, "Sorry."
Yeah.
And then Shanna waits 5 seconds and goes, "Everything okay?" And I look at her and go, "Let's go check."
Totally like what is happening? What is going on here?
My favorite part of that day was then Aubrey comes to me a little bit later and says, "Do you want to ask Eric if he can house manage, since our house manager had kind of not worked out?" I was like, "No, I tried to damage him today. I'm not asking Eric to do anything."
Yeah, Shanna's like, "We almost killed Eric. I don't think I should ask him that." I was like, "You should."
I think this was a show also where I was spoiled because I think Shanna kept bringing food, and I was like, this is gonna be on every show. And then the next show I was like, I didn't eat dinner beforehand. I thought there was gonna be food here. I thought that was the thing. And I was like, I should bring food now.
Peanut butter and jelly, buddy. Peanut butter and jelly.
The summer musical, man. You live off of peanut butter and jellies on those.